Welcome back. We are continuing the reading of Thought Vibration by William Walker Atkinson. We are on chapter 13. We're almost done. I think we only have a few chapters left. If you missed any of the previous readings, they are all on the playlist on the YouTube, so be sure to check those out. If you're somewhere besides YouTube, come over and enjoy and join the party. This has been a great book so far. I'm really enjoying it. Again, this book was written in 1906, over 100, almost 120 years ago. Is that right? My goodness. Let's dive in. Chapter 13, The Attractive Power, Desire Force. We have discussed the necessity of getting rid of fear, that your desire may have full strength with which to work. So just to recap, if you want to fully go after the life that you want or to make any changes to the positive direction, there is no room for fear. You cannot afford fear. We must get rid of that fear if we want to move forward. Can we continue to move forward with the fear? Sure, but they're like dragging big boulders. So we can have the full strength of our desire when we get rid of that fear. And it's a daily process at times, right? New level, new devil. Supposing that you have mastered this part of the task, getting rid of fear, or at least started on the road to mastery, I will now call your attention to another important branch of the subject. I allude to the subject of mental leaks. I've alluded to the subject of mental leaks. No, I don't mean the leakage arising from your failure to keep your own secrets. That is also important, but forms another story. The leakage I am now referring to is that occasioned by the habit of having the attention attracted to and distracted by every passing fancy. This is, he's talking about our lack of focus, our ability to be distracted so easily. This book was written in 1906. That was way before our phones, and social media. We are in a battle for our attention, and it starts within our own mind. For our energy, our attention, and our focus, because wherever that goes, all of the energy flows. So he's addressing this leakage by the habit of letting our mind wander, drift, as Napoleon Hill would say. Are you a drifter or are you a leader? Do you control and master your own mind, or are you a victim to your own mind? Are you just drifting and bobbling around and just distracted by everything? If you are, that's okay, but just address it and change it if you want something. But don't complain and be, always upset and frustrated with yourself and the world and how the gas prices are and the government and all this. You are in control. This is the truth. Shady crap can be happening, but admit that there are people that thrive regardless. Are some people luckier than others? Yes, life isn't fair, but do we all have an opportunity and a chance to change and shift things? Yes. Don't be the person that continually fights for your limitations. Did I take a screenshot? I saw something this morning. I don't know if it was on social media. Where did I see that? Those who are quick to see their limitations generally are slow to seeing their opportunities. So when I say that, no matter what's happening out here, we can control what's happening in here, which will then affect our experience and actually what happens out here. So let's look at 2020, for example. A lot of people said, oh, that was the worst time. The economy's crazy. Nobody's hiring. It's the pandemic. That was one of my most successful years, and for many people, because it's about the mindset. It's about our ability to pivot and look at the opportunities instead of all of the things that are going wrong. That's true for everything. Why do you think some of in the Depression, the Great Depression, more millionaires were made during that time, during the biggest financial crisis, air quotes? But if you just continue to believe like everybody else believes and looks at the obvious, then that's what you'll experience. But you can experience anything you want. And people, you can crap on that all you want, but it's the truth. Those who are quick to see their limitations generally are slow to seeing their opportunities. So even in a time of outside chaos where there seems to be a lack of opportunities or opportunities are being taken away, our ability to see more opportunities. Rather, when we are quick to see all the limitations, all the places that are falling apart, all the limits, all the negative things, for those who are quick to see everything that's negative outside, usually are the last and slowest people to see the opportunities and where things are always moving and changing, ebbs and flows. When things go down, something goes up. When things go up, something goes down. So the fact that things are crumbling and getting crappy just means that something else is growing really big, and it's your ability to pivot and to, roll with the punches, so to speak. It's having a positive mental attitude. So he's saying our habit of being distracted by anything, shiny object syndrome. In order to attain a thing, it is necessary that the mind should fall in love with it and be conscious of its existence almost to the exclusion of everything else. That is how Bob Proctor used to define our will, the faculty of the will. We have higher faculties in our mind that we can use. We have 5 lower senses, and we have 6 higher faculties. I just had this image out for a session I was doing. Let's look at this together. Okay. So we have, and let me look at here. Okay. So this is, just imagine your mind. We have the conscious thinking part, the subconscious emotional or feeling part. We have our 5 physical senses: see, hear, smell, taste, touch. These are our lower animal senses. But we have our higher faculties: perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. The will, let's look at this higher faculty. That is the creative faculties that create our life, not our 5 physical senses. Our 5 physical senses that we take in the world do not create our life. They take in what we create. Our higher faculties are what create our life. And so what he's saying is, in order to attain anything, it is necessary that the mind should fall in love with it and be conscious of its existence almost to the exclusion of everything else. So back to the will. Bob Proctor used to say, the will is your ability to focus on one thing to the exclusion of all others, using the faculty of the will to focus on one thing to the exclusion of all others. That's what he's saying. Our ability to stay focused, not to be distracted or easily, taken here and there and drifting. You must get in love with the thing you wish to attain, just as much as you would if you were to meet the girl or man you wish to marry. I do not mean that you should become a monomaniac upon the subject and should lose all interest in everything else in the world. That won't do, for the mind must have recreation and change. So what he's saying is, get obsessed with it in a good way, but don't get obsessed with it where, everything else starts falling apart. But I do mean that you must be so set upon the desired thing that all else will seem of secondary importance. A man in love may be pleasant to everyone else and may go through the duties and pleasures of life with good spirit, but underneath it, all he is humming to himself, just one girl. And every one of his actions is bent toward getting that girl and making a comfortable home for her. This is so old school. But yeah, that's the truth. Think about when you're in love or when you have a crush. You're nice to everyone. You're so happy. You're floating on cloud 9. But what's really at the core of it, you are totally just thinking about this person, and they are the source of your joy because that's what you're focused on. Do you see what I mean? You must get in love with the thing you want. And you must get in love with it in earnest. None of this latter-day flirting, on today and off tomorrow. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't be flip-flop. Make a decision. Don't be this flip-floppy, on today, off tomorrow sort of love, but the good old-fashioned kind that used to make it impossible for a young man to get to sleep unless he took a walk around his best girl's house, just to be sure it was still there. That's the real kind. That is so funny. And the man or woman in search of success must make of that desired thing their ruling passion. We must keep in mind on the main chance. So keep your eye on the prize. Get obsessed. Have that magnificent obsession. Success is jealous. That's why we speak of her as feminine. Success is jealous. That's why we speak of her as feminine. She demands a man's whole affection. And if he begins flirting with other fair charmers, she soon turns her back on him. If a man allows his strong interest in the main chance to be sidetracked, he will be the loser. Mental force operates best when it is concentrated. And that's another, the faculty of the will is our ability to concentrate on one thing to the exclusion of everything else. And another example is like, think about the faculty of the will, our ability to focus. It's like a magnifying glass. We're magnifying whatever we're focused on. It's like we are just honed in, you know, when someone's just focused, laser focused. So think about the light in this room. It's very broad. It's not focused. It's everywhere, the light. But if I were to take all of this light and harness it and marshal it into one laser beam, oh my gosh, that could cut through glass. But as the light is right now, just kind of spread out everywhere, this light isn't strong enough. I can't take the light from, you know, my ceiling fan and cut through glass. But if I took all the lights from all of these LEDs and everything and harnessed it into one laser beam, I could cut through glass. You must give the desired thing your best and most earnest thought, just as a man who is thoroughly in love. Okay, yes. Mental force operates best when it is concentrated. You must give the desired thing your best and most earnest thought, just as the man who is thoroughly in love will think about plans and schemes whereby he may please the fair one. So will the man who is in love with his work or business give his best thought. Yeah, fall in love with whatever you want to do. Fall in love with your business. Have it be your obsession. But not to the point where everything else falls apart. You know what I mean? Have it be your driving force and you'll be so happy in all your areas of life. So fall in love with your work or your business, give it the best thought, and the result will be that 101 plans will come into his field of consciousness, many of which are very important. The mind works on the subconscious plane, remember, and almost always along the lines of the ruling passion or desire. It will fix up things and patch together plans and schemes, and when you need them the most, it will pop up into your consciousness and you will feel like hurrahing, just as if you had received some valuable aid from outside. Okay, let me read that again. The mind works on the subconscious plane, remember, and almost always along the lines of the ruling passion or desire. So basically, what he's saying is the mind works on the subconscious. So this is the majority, 95% that runs the show, runs our body, makes us act, which gets our results. This is what runs the show. The mind works on the subconscious plane. Remember that. And almost always is the ruling passion. That's why the heart's there. It's what drives whatever you have in your subconscious mind, whatever you're emotionally involved with, is going to get you the results. So are you emotionally involved with the worst case scenarios or how you're going to fail or how you're going to succeed? Falling in love with what you're doing. Because we can think all day long. We can think here in our conscious thinking mind, which most people do. All they do is talk, think, ideate. They never believe it. They never get emotionally involved with it. So it never happens. It never becomes a result in their life because they just keep it in the conscious thinking mind. They never drop it into the heart. They don't get obsessed with it. They don't get passionate about it. All right, where's my book? Here we go. So he's saying the mind works on the subconscious plane, and it's always the passion. It's the ruling passion of our desire. It will fix things up and patch together plans and schemes. And when you feel like plans and schemes, and when you need them the most, it will pop them into your consciousness. So that's what he's saying, is that you're going to, get a lot of passion and desire going when you need it the most. Bing, it's going to pop into your conscious awareness to remember to take that action. So it'll pop up into your consciousness and you will feel like, oh my gosh, bing, your aha moment. Just as if you had received some valuable aid from outside. But if you scatter your thought force, the subconscious mind will not know how to please you. And the result is that you are apt to be put off from this source of aid and assistance. If you scatter your thought force, just like I said, you scatter the light. If you just scatter the light all around, it won't know what it's supposed to focus on. It won't know what you want. if you drop a bunch of different seeds over and over in different ideas, what is it going to know how to grow? But if you just plant the same thing over and over, carrots, 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 it's going to give you carrots. So it's through that repetition, focus, repetition, obsession. Beside this, you will miss the powerful result of concentrating thought in the conscious working out of the details of your plans. And then again, the man whose mind is full of a dozen interests fails to exert the attracting power that is manifested by the man of the one ruling passion, and he fails to draw to him persons, things, and results that will aid in the working out of his plans, and will also fail to place himself in the current of attraction out of his plans, and will also fail current of attraction whereby he is brought into contact with those who will be glad to help him because of harmonious interests. So this is really important here. These are long sentences. The man whose mind is full of a dozen interests fails to exert the attracting power that is manifested by the man of the one ruling passion. So let's look at this. So if we plant a bunch of different things in here, there's one carrot, one sweet potato, one tomato, one apple, instead of just apple, 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 right? If we're just randomly not focusing on one thing, we're just throwing it all down there, no focus, we're just letting things just fall in. Our subconscious is really the attraction point. This is our feeling or our vibration. And it's the law of vibration that dictates that's what we will attract. So when you hear about the law of attraction, that's a secondary law. The law of vibration is the primary law. You attract to you what you're vibrating at. So the law of feeling or emotion or vibration, how we're vibing, aka how we're feeling, will dictate how we act. But also it's going to attract to us whatever we are in harmony with. So this pretty much is our vibration. This is what is going to be attracted to us. So whatever we're vibing at will be attracted. But if we're like just have one little vibe on an apple, a carrot, what did I say? Whatever. It's very weak because there's only one. But if they were all apples, boom, it's going to attract apples. I have a lot of videos like that. Also, look in the description box below. There is a vibration and frequency masterclass where I go over how to master your emotions, how to shift your emotion, your vibration and frequency. You'll love it. All right, let's continue. We will also, so somebody who doesn't focus will also fail to place himself in the current of attraction whereby he is brought into contact with those who will be glad to help him because of harmonious interest. I have noticed in my own affairs that when I would allow myself to be sidetracked by anything outside of my regular line of work, it would be only a short time before my receipts dropped off and my business showed signs of lack of vitality. Now, many may say that this was because I left undone some things that I would have done if my mind had been centered on the business. This is true, but I have noticed like results in cases where where there was nothing to be done, cases in which the seed was sown and the crop was awaited. All right. So he's saying, I have noticed in my own affairs that when I would allow myself to be sidetracked by anything outside of me and my regular line of work, it would only be a short time before things started going downhill. Now, many may say that this was because I left things undone or that I wasn't focused on my business. He goes, yeah, part of that is true, but these were results when there was nothing to be done. Everything was done. But cases in which the seed was sown and the crop was awaited. And in just such cases, as soon as I directed my thought to the matter, the seed began to sprout. So it's not enough to have that seed, it's to have that focus. That's like the light, the sunshine, the water that we need for a plant seed to grow. Because if we put a seed underground, but we never watered it or gave it sunlight, it's not going to grow. I do not mean that I had to send out many mental waves with the idea of affecting people, not a bit of it. I simply began to realize what a good thing I had and how much people wanted it and how glad they would be to know of it and all the sort of thing. And lo, my thoughts seemed to vitalize the work. So it's your belief in it. Visualize people, like if there's a project or something you want to do, it's like get emotionally involved in it. Or if there's a trip you want to take, see yourself on the airplane, getting out, tasting the food, look at pictures. That's why people have vision boards. Like picture yourself there. Use the faculty of your imagination to get emotionally involved. Imagination is the workshop of the mind. I think Henry Ford said that, or Walt Disney. Probably all of them. All right. So he's saying that I simply began to realize when I, started thinking about it, how people would love my business and all the products or services I give. It seemed to vitalize the work, and the seed began to sprout. This is no mere fancy, for I have experienced it on several occasions. I have spoken to many others on the subject, and I find that our experiences tally perfectly. So don't get into the habit of permitting these mental leaks. Your thoughts, your emotions are creating your life. And I don't mean that you're responsible for other people's behavior. You're only responsible for how you experience. So for example, was it your fault that COVID-19 happened? Like, did you start that? No, right? At least you probably don't think so. Neither did I. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. But I was 100% responsible for how I was going to experience that. And thank God I was doing this work, because that's why it was one of the best years, like it was scary, right? It wasn't all good. It was really scary. People were sick, and I was concerned for my parents and, it was scary, a scary time. But I was very, very vigilant as to what thoughts I would let in, because it's so easy at times. And I wouldn't blame anybody or myself for worrying and going down negative worry spirals. But what does that help? I'm only suffering. It's like the person, I use this all the time, the person that robbed my car, like broke all the windows and took my stuff. That sucked. Did I attract that, right? People say, but this is the one thing that I heard. I wasn't thinking about somebody breaking in my car and then I attracted someone breaking in my car. What was the feeling and emotions behind it? I walked out and I felt taken advantage of, robbed, limited, scarce, attacked, right? I felt lack and scarcity. This situation, my car getting broken into, brought up feelings of lack and scarcity. So I checked in with myself. Carla, have you been feeling lack and scarcity? Have you been entertaining these things? Yes, of course. Is that what attracted it? I don't know. It could have been on an unconscious level. It could have been, this is another thing. What lesson did I need to learn? Not that we're like condoning or making it okay that someone broke into my car. It could have simply been, I left my purse under my seat. Don't leave your purse in your front seat. What attracted it? It might not have been any metaphysical thing. It would have been somebody walking by, seeing my purse and breaking into my car because my purse was right there. It's like, it doesn't have to be some big cosmic karma lesson. And it could have been. Bottom line, that situation happened and I said, I don't even care why it happened. I don't care if I was in lack or scarcity or if I was worried that someone would break in or what am I going to do now? I took a deep breath. I was grateful I was safe. Nobody was hurt. My phone was still there because I could track him. Everything else was gone. It was a super bummer. I had insurance. I was grateful that I had the insurance. I called the police. I reported it. I was a normal person. I called a friend. Thank God I had a friend, right? And moving on. I let myself cry. I let myself, move through the motions, but I wasn't going to let it dictate how I felt and how I think. No. And that isn't easy. And I don't blame people that don't want to do that. And they argue for their limitations or why they can't. This is not easy work. Okay, that was a side tangent. All right. So he's saying that as soon as I directed my thought to the matter, things started working. I do not mean that so he was saying I wasn't sending out mental waves to affect other people. No, I was just getting emotionally involved and getting a heightened emotion about how, much I loved my business and my passion for it. And then the seeds began to sprout because that's what feeds it. So he's saying this is not just woo woo. He's experienced it many times and he's spoken to other people who have experienced this. So don't get into the habit of permitting the mental leaks. You are in control. You truly are. Keep your desire fresh and active and let it get in its work. Okay, keep your desire fresh and active and let it get in its work without interference from conflicting desires. Keep in love with the thing you wish to attain. Feed your fancy with it. See it as accomplished already, but don't lose your interest. Keep your eye on the main chance. So he's saying keep that love, keep that excitement, keep that vitality. Maybe in the morning you just have a moment where you think about it and that's it. You go about your day. Maybe just once every morning when you wake up and before you go to bed. Keep that feeling alive. Feed it. See it as already done, but don't lose your interest. Keep your eye on the main chance and keep your one ruling passion strong and vigorous. Don't be a mental polygamist. Oh my God, I read this earlier. You guys buckle up. This is so like, what's it called? Politically incorrect. But this was, again, written a long time ago. Don't be a mental polygamist. One mental love is all that a man needs. That is one at a time. So don't be a gigolo or a hussy with your interests. Fall madly in love with one and be committed and loyal and passionate and honest and just committed. Be a monogamist. Be monogamous. Wow. Okay, there's monogamy. Be a monogamist with your desires. Some scientists have claimed that something they might some scientists have claimed that something that might as well be called love. I lost my spot. Some scientists have claimed that something that might be well called love is at the bottom of the whole of life. I agree. They claim that the love of the plant for water causes it to send forth its roots until the loved thing is found. Oh, that's a beautiful metaphor. They say that the love of the flower for the sun causes it to grow away from the dark places so that it may receive the light. The so-called chemical affinities are really a form of love. And desire is a manifestation of this universal love, life love. So I am not using a mere figure of speech when I tell you that you must love the thing you wish to attain. Nothing but intense love will enable you to surmount the many obstacles placed in your path. Nothing but that love will enable you to bear the burdens of the task. The more desire you have for a thing, the more you love it. And the more you love it, the greater will be the attractive force exerted toward its attainment, both within yourself and outside you. So love but one thing at a time. Don't be a mental Mormon. That's what I was talking about. About the polygamy, I think, is it in the Mormon? It is, or it used to be like to have multiple wives. He's saying, don't be a mental polygamist. Be in love with one thing. Don't be a mental Mormon. I apologize if you're offended by that, but don't shoot the messenger. But that is kind of funny. Okay, so that was chapter 14, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that. Thought Vibration by William Walker Atkinson. The desire force. What was this called? The attractive power, desire force. You know what? I needed to hear that. Because, we hear all the time, and I myself preach this, like, get emotionally involved with it, but it's more than that. It's like, fall in love with it. Napoleon Hill talks about a burning desire, but like, this goes a step further. It's like love desire, right? It's so good. All right, let me know your thoughts. What stood out to you? What some comments? If you missed any of the previous readings, again, it's on the playlists. If you want to join the Vibration and Frequency Masterclass, the link will be below all of my videos, and check out my website and all the other ways you can work with me. I am working on a course for human design for personal branding, and it's not just for businesses. It's like your brand, you have a unique frequency. You vibrate in a certain way. You were born a certain way. And for people who feel lost or feel like they just quite don't know their gifts and talents or how to just show up unapologetically, this course will be for you. I'm working on it right now. I'll tell you all about it when it's done, but I'm really excited about that. It uses human design as a tool. Totally changed my life. I use it all the time with my clients. I used to do one-on-one readings, and I still kind of do for the human design brand, like brand frequency. But I can only take so many people. You know what I mean? Like they're 90-minute sessions, and I can only do like 3 a day. And I have other clients as well. So I'm doing it as a course that you can take. So more on that later. But as always, thank you all. Happy Halloween, by the way. It's Halloween if you celebrate that. That's why I kept having, in the beginning of the reading, I had just eaten some Halloween candy. Don't judge me. And it was in my teeth. I had a Snickers, a little fun-size Snickers. I'm going to go trick-or-treating with the nieces and nephews. That should be fun. I do not have a costume. It's in storage right now because I'm a little nomad at the moment. But anyways, I hope to see y'all next time. Have a beautiful